All right, today we are diving into a tool that's basically a lifesaver for homework. It's turning those late night stress sessions into aha moments. So let's just jump right in. You know that feeling, right? It's like midnight, a deadline is breathing down your neck, and one math problem just feels like this giant impossible wall. You're just staring at the page and your brain has completely checked out. Yeah, it's that awful mix of total frustration and just pure anxiety. And a feeling like that, it can tank your whole night, and honestly, it can really mess with your confidence. But what if I told you the solution has been sitting in your pocket this whole time?
Okay, first section, the homework panic. And trust me, this is a real thing for students, parents, pretty much everyone.
So, where does all that stress even come from? Well, it's not just about the tough equations. It's that deep anxiety you feel when the textbook just doesn't speak your language? It doesn't match how you learn. And let's be real, you can't just call a tutor at 2 in the morning. All that pressure, it starts to affect your grades, and it can even put a strain on things at home.
So, how do we get out of that panic? Well, it comes down to a really cool shift in technology. We're moving from just punching numbers into a calculator to just using our camera.
And wow, what a leap it is. Think about the old way, right? Painfully typing out some long, crazy problem into a search bar, and if you're lucky, you get just the final answer, no explanation. And diagrams, forget about it. But the new way, you just point your phone. That's it. You get an instant scan, a full step-by-step breakdown, and it actually understands the pictures and graphs. Now, this didn't just appear out of nowhere. It's been evolving. Google Lens kicked things off back in 2017, just as a cool way to analyze visuals. Then, by 2020, it got way smarter by bringing in Socratic for those step-by-step guides. Flash forward to 2023, and boom, it gets this huge upgrade to handle really complex geometry and physics. And the next step? By 2026, it's going to be integrating video and voice, which is just a whole other level. Okay, so let's get practical. How does this thing actually help you solve those problems that are basically impossible to type into a search bar? All right, here's a classic one. I'm sure you've been here. Your work is on the paper, the idea is right, but the AI just cannot read your messy handwriting. Ugh, it's such a common roadblock. But don't worry, there's a fix. Okay, so here's what you do. First, just use your phone's flash. Seriously, getting that clear, bright light can make it way more accurate. Then, take just 1 extra second to make sure your variables, your X's and Y's, are written super clearly. And if you use grid paper, that keeps everything lined up perfectly so that AI knows exactly what it's looking at. Simple, right? And it works. And what about this one? How in the world are you supposed to type a geometry problem into Google? With all the shapes and angles and weird labels? The short answer is you can't. And that's exactly why using your camera first is such a game changer. It's honestly so simple. You just point your camera and get the entire problem in the frame, the shape, the text, everything. If there's one specific angle or side you're stuck on, you can literally just highlight it on your screen. Then you hit solve, and poof, it lays out the whole step-by-step logic for you. All right, this is where it gets really interesting, because this tool isn't just about getting quick answers. It's about helping you actually understand the material on a whole new level. Okay, just look at this number for a second. 20 billion. I mean, that is just a massive, massive number. And what it represents is a huge shift in how we're all looking for information. Yep, 20 billion visual searches every single month. That's how many times people are pointing their cameras, not just at homework, but at the world, just to understand it better. So this isn't some little niche thing. It's a full-blown global movement in how we learn. And the experts? They're totally on board. They see that this is a huge deal. We're moving past just answer finding. The real revolution here is using these interactive tools and step-by-step visual guides to completely change how students get their heads around STEM subjects. So, what's the secret sauce behind all this? It's something called the Socratic integration. You can think of it as the Y engine. Its whole purpose isn't just to give you the final answer. That'd be cheating, right? No, it focuses on the how. It breaks down the method step by step so you actually learn the concept and are ready for the test. But wait, it gets even cooler. This thing can take those flat, abstract ideas from a textbook and literally bring them to life in 3D. Imagine seeing an atom floating right there in your room, or exploring the inside of a human cell. You can even grab a complex shape with your fingers and turn it around. It makes stuff that's hard to imagine totally real and tangible. So where does this all go from here? For our last section, let's look ahead and see what the future of homework is really shaping up to be. The next big thing is what's called multimodal AI tutoring. Sounds fancy, but all it really means is combining different inputs, like your voice and your camera, to solve problems in a way that feels way more natural, almost like talking to a person.
And why does that matter? Well, the impact is huge. Think about it. Typing a long, complicated problem is a pain. It's high friction, super slow. Using just your voice is a little bit better. But when you combine your camera with your voice, that friction drops by a whopping 80%. This isn't just about making things easier. It's about technology finally bending to how we naturally work. You can just point your phone at a problem and ask, okay, so where do I even begin with this?
And that really leaves us with one big, thought-provoking question. As these tools get smarter, more intuitive, and more focused on real, actual learning, is it possible that your phone could become your most important teacher? Definitely something to think about.